12 hours, 47 minutes, 38, 37, 36. 30, 29, 28, 37. Sorry, I'm a little excited, but since I can't review Magnus Chase yet, better get my vampire cape on so we can talk about a record of a fallen vampire. Another character today, and that is Laetitia. So, as I finish tying this up, there we go. I grab on my book and I get my vampire cape. Let's begin. Okay, so now we can do this. And I got my vampire cape. Better make sure the collar's up because vampires, and you can blatantly see collar up. I'll picture. Yep, so now that the collar is up on for my vampire cape, and we're kind of talking about the last-ish vampire, and I say ish because right now, in this book, Akabara is the most vampire-iest. Yeah, I'm going to make that a word. He's the most vampire-iest. And then Bridget, I think, is the next most vampire-iest so far in the first 4 that I've read. And then Laetitia, and then Rinka is the next most vampire-iest. And then, you have like the Black Swan and everyone else who's not really that much of a vampire. But you get the idea, right? So today we're talking about Laetitia, and I'm not sure if that's correctly how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry if it's not, because I said Margus instead of Magnus. You can tell I'm thinking about it. I have a countdown, come on. But Laetitia, I'm going to call her Laetitia because that's the easiest for me to remember, is just this little vampire girl, and she's like adorable. She's like really small compared to all the other ginormous vampires around her because they're all like towering. So Laetitia, let's talk about Laetitia. Laetitia is, well, just a quick overview of her character. She's like Akabara's only friend. Yeah, his only friend is Laetitia, because she's the only one that actually won't kill him on sight. And it's pretty interesting how they meet, because he gets his arm cut off in a fight, and as I mentioned before, apparently vampires can just grow back arms. I'm sure that's somewhere in like vampire lore and legend and stuff, but none that I've heard of. I kind of want to know those legends now. But as I was saying, he gets his arm cut off, goes wandering around trying to find a place to get out of the sun, because, vampires and sun, no, they don't sparkle. No. 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 They don't. He needs to get out of the sun, so it doesn't. In this series, I think it hurts them more than kills them. But the more vampire you are, the more it hurts you. So he really needs to get out of the sun. And he also needs to get out of the sun to regenerate his arm. But she finds him, and she is, I want to say, a lot vampire, like not the normal vampire, just a lot vampire. And so she ages pretty slowly, so she looks like a little kid. But in reality, I want to say that she's maybe 100 or so years old, and she was run out of her town because she was part vampire, because after Akabara abandoned the kingdom of night and day, well, everything just went down from there. Honestly, that's the gist of it. Everything just went down from there, and vampires weren't liked by humans, so they live in secret and they live in separate. And even if you're just a little bit vampire, because I guess there was a lot of, like, no one cared at one point, because if there's that many people who have a little bit vampire in them, people must have not cared at one point. But I'm rambling now, aren't I? So back to Laetitia. So she's part vampire. She was ran out of her town, but she lives in this little cave. She got some nice little place. She takes him back there and is like, you can regenerate because you're a vampire like me. We gotta protect each other. And it's so sweet, and I gotta tell you, when she starts talking about the Vampire King and how he messed up, I have to say, it was so funny, because he's sitting there and she doesn't know that he's the Vampire King. No, he's not telling her. He's just sitting there listening to her tell him all about how the Vampire King kind of ruined everything by abandoning his kingdom, and this is where the whole idea that he knows he messed up, because he admits that he's like, yeah, he kind of did mess up, but did you ever think that he could have done it out of love. It's hilarious because he's referring to himself in the third person. Eventually she catches on, but like I said, she's a little ball of sass, okay? Little ball of sass, and she tells it to him straight. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. You are a Kavara, the Vampire King. You were a great leader. Sure, your kingdom's gone, but come on. You set out to do something, and you're going to finish it, and I'm going to help you. That last part is kind of interesting, that she's like, I'm going to help you, because he tries to tell her not to help, stay back and such, but she doesn't care. She's going to help. And that is seen throughout the entire thing. When Bridget goes to have like this meeting with the masked, really powerful dude, she's like, I'm going with you because, you know, everyone should know what's going on and such. And, well, yeah, you have, like, that makes sense, but for this little girl, like, she is tiny compared to all the other vampires and adults. In here, she is like a little kid. Like, I'm not joking. She is like a little kid. Like, let's see. I'm going to show you a picture of her because, oh wow, because she is small. Okay, so here is a good idea. You can kind of see if you can, but you get the idea that she is small. Okay, she is so small compared to all these other big vampires, and she's actually still learning to be a vampire, which I also like. It's interesting too, because even though she tells Akabara what's what and how it's like, she's just like, dude, you should finish what you started, I'm going to help you. No one should be mad at you because you want to find your wife. That's like stupid. Who cares if she was about to destroy the world? She has to be cooled down by now, because it's been like, who knows at this point, like 1,000 years, I think they said, over 1,000 years. And how many cycles of black swans has he gone through? She's kind of looking at it like, at this point, dude, they should just let you find her. And she's also fierce. I gotta say, she's fierce because she might be small, but she is like big when it comes to being fierce. Because multiple times in this, she like pulls out a gun, I think, at one point, even in the first one, and starts just shooting to distract the vampire so he can get to the seal and break it and such. Like I said, she's helping him, and she also tries to like fight back during things. She yells at him for not telling her stuff, like, you know, that big thing about him not actually loving his wife and wanting to kill her. See, in retrospect, I think if he told more people about it, they'd actually help him, because they sealed her away because they couldn't contain her. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, if they're equal in power, then yeah, I could see the problem, because then that'd be a huge fight, and no one needs a huge fight like that. But at the same time, if he is like the most powerful vampire, stronger than her, then what? And they knew that he was actually going after her for revenge, and they wanted her gone. This is getting really dark. But we're gonna turn it back to little Laetitia, who is all about happy, because she is really happy, and she's always trying to like cheer Kavara up, and I really like that. I also like that her parallels with Bridget. We remember Bridget from a while back. Bridget was like Kavara's first ever adopted daughter. So is Laetitia. He's teaching her things. He even tells her that, like, when this is all over, they're just going to go to the moon together. And, again, there has to be some vampire lore or legend that says that they came from the moon, but that aside, they come from the moon in this, so we're just going to accept that. They come from the moon in this one, and she's just like, vampires came from the moon. I'll take you to the moon once we get back. And it's awesome because you also see them flying around and using their vampire skills, and along the way he's just trying to teach her, and he's actually trying to protect her at certain points. When, like, you know, people are like, you had help, he's like, no, I didn't, and he wants her to leave when there's a huge fight. If the Black Swan shows up, he's like, you should leave, get out of here, don't come any closer, like that. He really does kind of care about her, because, like I said, she's kind of his only friend. That's sad in a way, but she's adorable, and it is hilarious because she will tell everyone and anyone what's what. And she really, I don't think that she's like the reader. She's the reader. There's always the one character who's kind of like the reader, okay, in the book. For the House of Hades, it was Jason when, you know, the Fury and Cupid chapter. In the Hunger Games, it was almost definitely Katniss. And just throughout the entire thing, there's always that like reader character that kind of feels the same as you. I mentioned that reading this series was like, who is Akabara? Is he the good guy? Is he the bad guy? Is he neither? Is there another evil? And this was before I knew about the aliens. But during this, Laetitia is like that too. At first she's like, he's bad, and then she's like, but you know, he probably could be good, and then she talks to Bridget, and then a lot of things happen, and by the part 4, she's kind of just like in the middle. She doesn't know what to think. She wants to believe Akabara. She really does, but she can't ignore the facts. So with that, she's pretty smart, and I really do like her as a character. I gotta say, I really do like her as a character. It's a very like different spin on it. You don't really see too many random characters like that, especially like having that father-daughter relationship, I think. And she never actually mentioned her father. She only ever mentioned her mother. So that's also an interesting point I just thought I'd bring up. I don't remember her ever mentioning her father. But I do like Laetitia. She's really fierce, little ball of sass too. Because, like I said, she is so small but mighty. She's small but mighty. Tiny but mighty. So that is Laetitia for you. And now I'm going to show you guys some more artwork in honor of this. I showed you, you know, just different pictures of little Laetitia. You can see, like, even here, like, that's probably a good idea to get you the size of her right there. The Cabra is right here, and then here's Laetitia. Now let's talk about some artwork. This is something that I made last year, and this, I just want to say, actually has a pretty funny story behind it. See, when I first designed it and got the project, I actually had no intention of making this. So, just so you know what it is, it's an Ankh in the middle and the Eye of Ra. I had no intention of making it at all. And now here's the story. So the story with that, why I had no intention of making it, was actually, it was a joke. Because I had just gotten my friend to read the Kane Chronicles, and she was really liking them, and we were talking about them, and then I was teasing her that I was going to make something Egyptian again, because every project so far, that class that I had taken, had been a little bit more Egyptian. The first thing I made was a stone-based project, except I made a crescent, sort of like neck plate type thing, best way to describe it. That's the first project I made. Then the next project, I actually did casting. And if you don't know what casting is, just imagine how chess pieces are made. That's what casting is. And then with that, I made a D in hieroglyphics, obviously for my name. So just like a little hand, kind of like this, because that's in hieroglyphic D. And then for this third project, I was teasing her that, again, I was going to do something along the lines of Egypt. And I kind of just sketched that out of, you know, just sheer, just to annoy her and be like, yeah, I'm going to make that. And then class came, my teachers saw it, I tried to skip past it, but she saw it and said that looked great. That was the best one, apparently, out of all that I had drawn. And I ended up using the computer to get the Eye of Ra just right. And, oh, that thing is made up of so many different pieces. As you could probably assume, I think that the Ankh itself is made up of, let's see, about 7 pieces, and each Eye of Ra, so each Eye of Ra is made up out of about 14 pieces, and then obviously all the wiring around it. Originally, it was not supposed to be wall art, it was supposed to be an armband, but I ran out of time to firmly set every piece, and ended up just making it into wall art with 2 easy little hooks on top, but obviously I kind of just taped it up there, so sorry, I just taped that up there. But, you know, that's just some of my artwork. I really want to get some of my friends' artwork in here. I think next time I'll be showing you some really cool artwork that I brought up once before, but I'd like to bring it up again because it's just so cool and so awesome and I love it. And that is it for now. And the next 2 videos are going to be for Rinka and the Black Swan, which is kind of a multitude of characters, or just her in general. And those are going to be coming up real quick in the time that it takes me to read Magnus Chase. I'm finally getting that down. It's not Marcus, it's Magnus. I'm finally getting it down. No fear for that. I also am needing to review the Greek Heroes book. I have not finished that actually because I've been reading the original myths. I know it's like insane. I actually looked in the back of it, and here is idea, like here theocracy works in days. If you actually look in the back of Greek Heroes and Greek Gods, this book is a reference, and oh, it is so confusing, but you know what's going on at the same time, and it's actually pretty interesting. Actually, for my mythology class, I'll probably talk more about that as I get into the Greek Heroes. We're actually reading more about the Greek God side, so I might even go back to that and compare the two, because, you know, it's pretty interesting to see where each one comes from and how the take of it came about. But that is it for now. That was Laetitia, and next time we'll be moving on to Rinka, and then the Black Swan, and then Magnus Chase, and the Gods of Asgard, and whatever other characters appear in that, because as far as I know, only Magnus and his uncle are in it. But I'm looking forward to seeing Magnus Chase go across all 9 realms, and if you haven't watched the trailer for this book yet, you have got to go watch that trailer. I'm just saying, I'll put a link in the description below, but it really gets you pumped up for that video. That was Laetitia. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out that trailer and come back here for Rinka, the Black Swan, and Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard. That will come out as I am recording this in 12 hours, in 23 minutes, and 56, 55, 54, 53, 52. You get the idea? That many seconds. We're almost there. 12 more hours. And now I'm going to go get ready for some Norris after I finish my homework. Thanks for watching. Bye!